I think my guest is finally here.
How you doing, Chad?
Mr. Caliph Shaquel, are you with us tonight?
Yes, I am. It was really difficult getting here. I'm sorry getting so
brother,
late.
you're about 46 minutes late, man. We were talking about other subjects. I thought you would never call in.
Well, I did. I'm sorry I'm late, but I finally got the call.
Okay, so we're going to go 30 minutes in here. I'm sorry, guys, that we have to postpone that conversation. I think I'm going to talk about what I'm going to have next week so we can finish the Ebola conversation. But, okay, now that you're finally here, I have you for 30 minutes, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so let's get into you what you do. You know, this is Caliph Shaquel. Tell them what you do and what your mission is.
Well, I am an author. I am a filmmaker. I started back in radio way back in the day, back in the 1980s, and I worked in radio, TV. I've written 8 books, and I have worked on TV and film. And currently, I am producing a film about the Kendrick Johnson situation in Valdosta, Georgia.
Now, I went with you to Valdosta, Georgia, and I helped out and did everything with the group. I was with you with the family. I was with you at the church. And it was about a 3-hour drive, was it not?
I got to around 3 hours. We left really early, but it's about a 3-hour drive, a little over 3 hours.
So basically, we woke up early. We woke up at what, 2, 3 a.m.
I got a call from you at 3 a.m. I'll always remember when I woke up.
Yeah,
I woke up at 3.
So basically, we got there by at least 8.
8:30, somewhere in that area.
And how many hours of shooting were we doing the whole day? Tell everybody that.
We started shooting roughly at the event started at 10, and we were actually setting up at 10, and we left there 7:30, 8 o'clock that night. We shot all day.
Yeah, shot all day. So folks, I was with this group from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night. Didn't get back home till 11 p.m. at night. But what
Chad, you was with us at 4:30.
At 4:30. My bad. 4:30
until about 11:30 at night.
And then get back 11 p.m. at night. Just wanted to tell everybody that. So I say that to say that when I talk on my radio show and talk about different issues, I practice what I preach and I join the cause of what I do. But Mr. Caliph, what is the purpose of doing this movie, and tell everybody what is that and why are we doing it?
Well, we actually are doing a series, and the series is called Unfortunate, and it is about losing young life, not losing black life or losing male life. It is using young American life that we've lost, unfortunately. And one of the stories that we've decided to do is the Kendrick Johnson story because of the national acclaim, the notoriety, and how unfortunate his passing is. Right.
And go ahead.
No. I was just saying it was just very unfortunate how this young man lost his life. I mean, it's shrouded in mystery, and it has ripped a community apart. Normally, you would think that when you lose someone who is young and talented, as this young man was, it would bring a community together of this size. But in reality, it has torn this community apart.
Yeah, because when we went to Valdosta, it didn't seem too bad. I mean, we didn't really get into any hassles with police or anything. But, you know, when we interviewed the families and the friends and other people involved, it was mixed stories of things. But there was one thing that can come together. Now, I want to make sure, can we talk about that one thing, or can you give our audience a little bit?
Of course we can. Yes, we can.
Go ahead. So what's the one thing that can bring the town together? Now, we don't know who murdered. We don't know if it's a murder. We can't even prove it's a murder right now. But what is the one thing that we can bring everybody together right now?
Well, what we're trying to do with Unfortunate is our motto is bringing closure to your home. And a lot of times when you're grieving and you're suffering, it takes maybe an outside person to think about it. So what we've decided to do is we're going to push for standards, for coroner standards across the nation, and we want to do this law in the name of Kendrick Johnson. Multiple reasons why. The coroner in this tragic affair is really not a competent man. He's not an educated man in the field of medicine. And mistakes were made at the very beginning of the investigation that he injected into the investigation. And when you look at the laws across this land, coroners are in different. Some major cities don't even have them. Okay. So we are going to push for a national standard, and we want that law to be in the name of Kendrick Johnson to represent all of the lives that we've lost in this country, where medical examiners and police investigations are thwarted by mistakes made in the coroner's office.
Right, and so basically that's what it's about, and that's a very good way in bringing people together in just that one thing. But
right, and both sides, Chad. Both sides, although they disagree, serious disagreements about the how he passed, they are all in lockstep in that community about the problems that came out of the coroner's office. I don't care what side they're on, they all agree that was a major and is a major problem in the county.
And basically, when we interview people, no one even knew what a coroner was. Isn't that right?
Most people don't know what a coroner is. And to be honest with you, I didn't know what one was either. I grew up watching a TV show named Quincy where the coroner was the brightest mind in the movie. And in this country, most coroners are elected to their offices, not appointed. So to be a coroner in most counties in America, you simply need a high school diploma. You don't need any medical background or role. You're in charge of a matter investigation. What a lot of people don't know is a coroner can arrest a sheriff, and that's the truth. He doesn't have to have any investigative training. He doesn't have to have any medical training. He just needs to be voted into the office by the public. And once he has that authority, he takes a 2-week class, and then after that, he walks around with powers that can only be stripped by the governor.
Exactly, but I didn't know a coroner can actually arrest somebody or arrest the sheriff if he wants. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, once a coroner comes onto the scene, if he has determined with his, whether it's a lot of experience or limited experience, if he senses malplay from the sheriff, he can arrest him.
Wow, that's corrupt justice right there.
Most of us don't. I didn't know what a coroner was. I know I didn't know. And when I found out what an actual coroner is, it really threw me. And then I started looking at the investigation, and it helps you see the Kendrick Johnson investigation in a brand new light when you see the things that the man has said in comparison to what his education level is. This is a very This situation takes people of a very high competent medical background and level, right. and this is a situation where you don't just want anybody walking the crime scene. You don't even know. Most people who are coroners don't even know if they're stepping on evidence. That's one of the problems here.
Yeah, another problem. And basically, the whole other point is that there's really, I want to talk a little bit about what I heard from News One a little bit of a month ago. But basically, you can't prove that the case was a murder or anything, but you can prove that the school, the state, and the coroner failed them. That's what can be proven.
Well, I've seen the case file. I've seen the autopsy pictures. I've seen the pictures on the case pictures. I've seen every picture. 537 pictures involved in this case, which was done by the Loudoun Sheriff's Department. Okay, and when you look at the pictures, it's alarming. It's frightening when you see them. But one of the problems that the family is running into, the organs are missing. So, it's not the family couldn't give the organs to an independent forensic specialist to review them. The clothing that he was wearing to school that day have come up missing. That would be a problem for any parent. Right. They're missing his brain is missing. The only other time I ever heard that was the President of the United States brain went missing. With John F. Kennedy, I'd never heard of us losing someone's brain.
Wait, did you just say John F. Kennedy's brain was missing when he got killed?
Well, that's one of the stories is that, that his brain was missing. Well, the other half of it, half of it was blown off. Yeah.
Wow.
But outside of hearing that, I wasn't there. I wasn't born at that time. But what I'm saying is the only other time that I had even heard of an American citizen's brain going missing at his death in an autopsy is Kendrick Johnson. So that in itself would make any parent very frustrated. And it's very difficult to find comfort when the chain of custody in this case is so fouled up. By every step, whether it's at the school, Kendrick goes to the third school, what they call third block, and in the fourth block, he's not in his class, and there's no search for him. I guess kids skip school a lot, but at the fourth block, from the fourth block for 24 hours, Kendrick Johnson, nobody knows where he is. Mm-hmm. And so there's 41 cameras at the school. No camera picks him up leaving the school. So he's obviously, we think he's still at school. Well, that's where they found him. But nobody wants to send their child to school with a gym bag and then bring him home in a body bag. No, nobody wants to do that. Right. Backpack, you go to school with a backpack, come home in a body bag. No American should ever have to do that. So the school, in this scenario, lost track of one of its students and lost the student. So we don't even know what happened at the school. When the chain of custody comes about, there's a legal issue with releasing the body. Kendrick Johnson was determined initially as a accidental death. Well, the state law says that you release the body within 24 hours on an accidental death. His, however, was not released, even though it was determined an accidental death. Okay. The family has a problem with this because they believe that the body was accelerated, decontaminated by holding this body and not giving it to them, even though they had already ruled it an accident. So there's a lot of issues that the family has. I'm not saying that I do, because that's not my job. My job is to shoot a film and try to tell both sides of this. But these are some of the issues that the family has with the case. And to be honest with you, I don't think any American who sends their child to school would accept, because there's no way to ever make that right for them, ever.
Exactly right. And the other side is people don't trust anything in the case file. They don't take it seriously because of the history in the county and stuff that's happened in the past. So that's why people don't trust the case file either.
Right. One of the problems is the history of relationships between the African American community and the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department goes back. The entire region. There's a very serious case, goes back to 1918, a lady named Mary Turner, whose husband was lynched, and she filed a complaint with the Sheriff's Department down in the area. And I'm not sure if it was Lowndes County, but she files a complaint, and the mob that had lynched her husband inevitably takes her. She's pregnant at the time. They cut her belly open. Baby falls out. They stomp the baby to death. Poured gasoline on her, set her on fire, and then threw her off a bridge, hanging upside down. Mm-hmm. So this is, and I can list you, 50 cases where violence to African Americans have happened at the hands of some of our white citizens, our white brothers in that area, and no one has ever been charged and brought to justice. So the Kendrick Johnson scenario is almost par for the course, and it's very unfortunate for us in the year 2014 to be saying that.
So that's why people don't trust the case file, which is absolutely normal. But there could be right stuff in there that people aren't going to listen. So, yeah. Right.
The case could be pristine because of the history that the county has, that the Sheriff's Department and the African-American community has, which is one of the things that we talk about in the film, that there is a troubled history whether it's fair or not today, there are some very frustrating things that have happened in that county to black men and women without any measure of justice. Okay. And so there's some very strange cases down there in that county.
All right. Do you want to answer some calls for a second and
Sure.
move on a little bit? We have about 13 minutes left. Can you do 13 more minutes?
Sure.
All right. Let me answer some callers. All right. Southwest Michigan, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. I'm just speechless right now. My name is Anthony. Speechless.
How you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm just fine, brother.
Yeah. Blessed with no words.
You got nothing to say. You have no questions, no comments.
Definitely not at the moment.
All right. Keep listening. I'll get somebody else. You got people in here speeches, Mr. Caliph.
It's not my case, brother. I'm just the one trying to tell the story. We don't want to be losing our children at school. I mean, nobody wants to do that.
All right. East Maryland, Jared, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'm just listening to what the interview was saying, the different points about the movie. So essentially, you're focusing on the corrupt case where I guess the perpetrator was not convicted, or
I'm sorry. The focus of the movie is really 2 points. We do want to tell you what a great young man Kendrick was. I mean, by all accounts, from school teachers to close friends, he was a terrific young man and a really good athlete. So we want to tell his story. I mean, his story is not his death, and a lot of people, when we hear about when you see the pictures are just awful. And so it has become his hallmark is those pictures. And he was a terrific young man by all accounts. Everybody that we spoke to believed that. So that's one thing that we're going to do. And then another thing that we want to talk about in a very serious way is chain of custody. And the chain of custody when it comes to the life of Kendrick Johnson from the moment that he is discovered, his body is discovered, all the way up through the crime lab. But we have to remember something. Kendrick Johnson's organs go missing between the crime lab and the mortician. The crime lab saying that they packed everything up like they normally do in the bag and they shipped it out. The mortician says he never received the organs. So the family is saying, if you sent it and they didn't get it, where are they? And I don't come down on any side because it's not my position to do that. What I'm saying is as a father, as an American citizen, I too want to know what happened to this man's organs.
Right.
I think that's a fair question for the family to ask.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely appears as though you have a lot of different avenues that weren't addressed correctly, and there was some definitely I'll call it tainted handling of the whole investigation.
See, brother, one of the problems that we have with this case is that this could have been a perfect investigation. All right. The moment you lose someone's brain tissue, the moment you lose their organs, it has contaminated what people believe.
Right.
And at this point, with the history that the county has had with the African American community, and once again, I'm not saying this is justified today. I'm saying historically there's been a problem. That comes into the mindset of the parents. It would almost have to.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jared, and then I'm going to let Lynette talk.
Yeah, I mean, he made some excellent points. I mean, just what he was saying, and I mean, it is unfortunate, cases like with Kendrick Johnson and other individuals where they do have missing evidence and they don't handle the process correctly, and it definitely builds a sense of mistrust, or shall I say, lack of trust in the certain people in those positions to handle those things. So definitely, hopefully, people will actually watch the movie documentary and open up people's eyes and just be aware of these things.
Well, we
thank you so
thank
much
you for being interested. You can tell that you'll be able to follow the progress of when the document is going to air, where it's going to air at a Fourth Amendment. We actually have a Facebook page. You can go to Fourth Amendment Facebook page, Fourth Amendment Films, and you'll be able to follow the progress between now and when we have our premiere, which will be in Valdosta before anything else.
All right, that's Fourth Amendment Films, everybody. Like that page, Fourth Amendment Films.
I got it.
I'm looking for it right now. Yo, Facebook is tripping. I can't even see it. Lynette, go ahead and what do you have to say to this?
I am not familiar with the case, but I have a bunch of questions if he doesn't mind answering them.
I don't mind her.
Okay, this little boy, how old was he when he disappeared from school?
Well, he was 17.
Okay.
And he doesn't disappear from the school. There's no evidence he ever left the school.
Okay, that's a great comment. So my question is, when they found his body, were his organs already missing?
No, when and I've seen the crime photos. They're horrible to look at. His head is the size of a pumpkin. And the you can actually go online and pull up Kendrick Johnson. You can see some of the photos. They're just terrible. And his head is the size of a pumpkin. Now, it was ruled an unfortunate death. The police say he was trying to pick some shoes up out of a mat and sort of crawled in there and got stuck upside down, and blood rushed to his head, and after 24 hours he suffocated in his own blood. But when you look at the crime scene photos, there is blood all over the floor that he's laying in. It's just horrible. The family believes that he was murdered and rolled up in the mat. And you have to come down when you get a chance to look at all of it and watch the film where you decide to come down on it. We don't make statements in our film. We only ask questions.
Oh, I have more questions. So the only organ that was missing was his brain, or was it more than just his brain? No,
all of his organs were missing. All of them. The brain, the liver, everything is missing. When they had his body exhumed and had an independent forensic doctor do an autopsy on it, they found newspaper in the body. There was no organs.
So, but my question is, were the organs removed when he was getting the autopsy done, or his organs were removed prior to them finding his body?
Well, and that's a $64,000 question, right?
There's a lot of children that come up missing, and they're the reason why is because they are bodies for organ harvesting. That people, elitists, have already, blood typed them, have made matches with tissue matches, and they come up missing because they're perfect matches for elitists who need organs. And my question is, if he was missing the organs prior to the autopsy, because that makes a big deal right there.
Well, there are people that believe that his organs were harvested. The Georgia, the crime lab, you have to understand something, the medical examiner's office, write down on the form of transfer. Now, this don't mean it happened. I'm just saying that on their form, they check off the boxes for liver, spleen, heart, brain. They check it off.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that they had it. That's not my position. I don't have one. I'm saying that they said that they sent it, and the funeral home says that never happened. So I don't know where his organs actually went missing. I don't know.
Oh, because that makes a big deal, because I got to tell you, we do have forms of corrupt government that will play along depending on who is pulling the strings to hide or cover up things. So to me, it sounds like his organs were harvested. That's why he didn't leave the school. That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, I could be wrong.
But one of the problems, ma'am, with this entire case is you could be partly right and partly wrong, just like the rest of us. You see what I'm saying? This case, and it starts initially with the coroner. As I was saying earlier, most Americans think that the coroner is a medical professional.
Right,
and
that's what I thought.
Yeah, I did too. That's not the case. Coroners, for the most part in this country, are elected. It's an elected position. In other words, you can be a dog catcher today and run for coroner tomorrow.
Yeah.
And win. And if you win, you are in charge of murder investigations. And it is the most upside down law that we have. And one of the things that we're trying to do with the film is to get that law changed.
I'm with you on that one, because I was under the assumption that they are professional medical examiners, and that is the reason why they get that job.
No, no. Unfortunately, like the major cities, Georgia has 155 counties. Bibb County.
How is somebody is not suitable for that position, who is not educated for that position, make judgment calls or and lay down and say that this and this happened to the body when they have no education in that type of field? I don't get that.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Who did you vote for coroner the last election?
I got to be honest, I didn't.
There we go. Now that's how it happens. That's how it happens. We don't know. It appears to be, and I've been investigating this thing for a while now, and my team, our staff has spent a lot of work on coronering. And it appears to be one of those positions where guys say, hey, man, I'm not going to run anymore. Why don't you? Most coroners run unopposed. The coroner in this county made $51,000 last year as the coroner.
With no education or experience.
No education, no medical training at all.
That makes no sense to me.
That's our law, and that's why we're fighting in our film for people to stand up and say we got to, because this could be your mother, your daughter, your sister, your brother, you know what I'm saying? Right. And what we want is simple. And let me tell our listeners this, Chad. Right. We don't care which way we move this. Okay, we can move a corner up where everybody who's a coroner has to be a doctor, and we'd be completely happy with that. Or we can move it the other way, where we say a coroner is a taxi cab for the dead, but makes no decisions whatsoever, and that will make us happy too. Okay, which means that a doctor would have to, but what we don't want is a bunch of uneducated people filling out medical reports, making decisions on life and death when they're not experienced to do it.
So
all right, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I do.
Ahead.
I have a lot of questions. So
but he has a short time left. I got to ask him one final thing. So make it short.
Chad, how much time do you got?
2 minutes left.
You got 2 minutes on the show?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I can't understand why anybody would be in a position like that who is not a professional, who does not deal with corpses, who does not deal with, never dealt with medical, has no idea what certain bruises or certain types of afflictions or marks or cuts or wounds to a body even mean. I can't understand how they could be making any type of decision over a dead body who could have been murdered if they have no professional background. I don't get that. I'm not understanding that.
Well, you're joining the rest of us. Jeffrey, you can actually go back and see the coroner initially comes out and says, now this is the same guy with no medical history, that the Kendrick Johnson investigation, not murder, I don't want to use that the Kendrick Johnson death investigation was hindered because they didn't call him for 10 hours. Mm-hmm. And they ruined his investigation. This is the same man with no medical treatment. No medical teaching. And he said this to CNN. And then later comes back and apologizes to the sheriff. So that's just one of the many mistakes that have been made by that office.
It makes me wonder if a coroner has no educational background in order to get that job, and they're dealing with the cases of murder or suicide or whatever or accidental death, and they're dealing with those type of cases, and they have no kind of education behind it to back them as to making decisions. Well, what other offices are out there that these people are not capable of dealing with certain situations, and they are in the lead, and they are the ones that are head of whatever that they're ahead of, be it a coroner or a police chief or what have you. I mean, my question is, if a coroner doesn't have to have background, how many other offices don't have to have an actual educational background?
Well, let me say it to you like this. To be the president of the United States, you need to be a citizen of America. That's it. You don't have to go to college. You just to be the president of the United States, you just have to be an American citizen. So probably the majority of our elected positions are just that, elected, and you elect whoever you want.
Oh, that's got to change then, because we already see the effect of political idiots who are making decisions over this Ebola thing and the CDC. I don't know what kind of educational experience the CDC has or who's in charge of the CDC, but they're making mistakes big time.
Well, let me just say this, this might clear it up real bad. If you go to the Huffington Post, there's a case down in the same county, same coroner's office. A young lady named Jasmine Benjamin was going to college down there to become a nurse at Valdosta State. Her parents live in Gwinnett County. She slept in the middle and in the school in one of the common areas. She was laying asleep for 15 hours dead, and nobody touched her body. She just laid there dead.
Wow.
The coroner was called, and he got there before the city the county police. The police from Valdosta, the campus police was there. Valdosta, the Huffington Post reported that, and they were the only ones that reported it, that the coroner came on and said that the young lady died of natural causes. 2 days, 72 hours, and the family was told that she died of natural causes. 72 hours later, the police went to the family and said that she had been murdered.
Wow.
That's all I have to say.
See what I'm saying? That should say it all.
My question is, if somebody has been murdered, and it's
last question on that.
Extremely obvious, yeah. If it's so extremely obvious, how can an acquittal or what have you happen to somebody that's being charged if the coroner doesn't actually know what the hell they're doing because they're not educated? This is beyond me. I'm baffled by this.
Well, look, when I first found this out, I was just like you. I was just in total shock that our loved ones have been handled. And if you saw the autopsy pictures, and you'd be sick to your stomach. We have allowed this, and once again, as Americans, we have the power when we go vote. But oftentimes, we only care about who our congressman is or who's on our school board, and a lot of the real important things like this are swept under the rug. This guy ran unopposed. He'll make coroners popular around the world now. But for a long time, this has been the case, and we need to do something as citizens. But I thank you for your questions.
Do you have a petition that you're spreading around the United States?
When it'll come out with the movie, we're going to tell everybody what to do, where to go. We will eventually post that at Fourth Amendment Films on Facebook.
Okay.
You have to understand something. When we initially started to do this film, we had no idea which direction we'd be going in.
All right. Well, thank you, Lynette. Okay.
Thank you, Lynette.
All right. We have one more call, but let me ask the final question for the night for you, sir. Now, Benjamin Crump said on News One on Rowan Martin that they said that there's missing video, and he's trying to get the video. What do you think? What do you think about that, and do you think it's going to change it?
There are 41. I think there are 41 cameras at that school. One of the problems with motion cameras, if you're at a specific distance away from the camera, it won't pick it up regardless. So the Attorney General for the Southern District is in Macon, Georgia. The Assistant Attorney General is in Macon, Georgia. They have the computers from the school, and that's one of the things that they are referencing, that they are checking, is to see if there was any contamination to the cameras, to the system, to the film.
Right.
That is. We are all waiting on that.
All right, we'll see what happens from there. But basically, you can't say it's a murder. You can't say it's anything, just a death. The death.
Right. Well, you can say what you want. You have a whole bunch of people that said it's murder. You have a lot of people that said it was an accidental death. The truth is that there's a lot of smoky stuff around this case, and then once again, it fits our title, unfortunate. There is a lot of smoke, but we haven't been able. There's no one turned over the fire, so it's just like our film says, it's unfortunate. To Kendrick Johnson, we hope to make his life, his legacy will be that he helps us change that law.
All right, we have one last caller for the night. Louisiana, you're on the air. Louisiana, you're on the air. Louisiana.
Well, it looks like you might have lost.
No, he's still on. Oh, wait, he's gone now. Okay, whatever. All right. Mr. Caliph, thank you for being on the Chad Factor for tonight.
Yeah, I wish I could have got to you guys a little bit earlier. It seemed like you had a real good conversation going.
Yeah, we did, but we wanted to get right on topic. But it's fine that you were late. I'm glad you came in, and it was a good show. And everybody in the audience, all my callers, we're going to have Pastor Dow on next week at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a good show that week. It's going to be 2 hours. I'm going to let everybody have their calls in, ask them questions, and we're going to have a different talk. Just for right now, it's kind of slow tonight. Just want to get some things off. But thank you, Khalid, for being on my show tonight.
No, thank you for having me, and anytime.
All right, everybody, like the page, Fourth Amendment Films. Everybody search for that Facebook page. And everybody tune in next week at 8 p.m. to listen to Pastor Dow. Everybody have a good night, and bye.